Good afternoon, and welcome to Pakistan Today News from our New York studio. I'm Chris Taylor. Thousands of people have rallied in Iran's capital Tehran despite ongoing U.S. and Israeli airstrikes across the country as the conflict entered its seventh day. According to Iran's Red Crescent Society, more than 1,200 people have been killed since the offensive began on February 28th. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian says some countries have begun mediation efforts aimed at easing tensions, but Tehran insists it will defend its sovereignty. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has demanded what he calls Iran's unconditional surrender, warning that military operations could continue for several more weeks. The conflict is increasingly affecting the wider Middle East, with drone and missile attacks reported in several Gulf states and growing concern about the possible impact on global energy markets and the world economy. Pakistan's Chief of Army Staff, Field Marshal Asim Munir, has met Saudi Defense Minister Khalid bin Salman in Saudi Arabia to discuss the rapidly escalating Middle East situation and recent Iranian attacks targeting the kingdom. The meeting focused on regional security cooperation under the Pakistan-Saudi Strategic Defense Agreement. Saudi officials urged Iran to avoid what they described as dangerous miscalculations, stressing the need to maintain stability in the Gulf region. Both sides reaffirmed their long-standing military and strategic partnership, highlighting continued cooperation between Islamabad and Riyadh during a period of heightened regional tension. Pakistan is also facing a major fuel price shock after the government raised petrol and high-speed diesel prices by 55 rupees per liter, marking the largest increase in recent years. The sharp rise comes as global oil prices surge due to the ongoing Middle East conflict. Petrol now costs around 321 rupees per liter, while diesel prices have climbed to nearly 336 rupees. Officials say the country currently has sufficient fuel reserves but warned against hoarding. Authorities have ordered strict action against petrol pumps creating artificial shortages, while the government says fuel prices may now be reviewed on a weekly basis because of volatility in global markets. In the United States, Virginia's legislature has passed a new law preventing public schools from teaching former President Donald Trump's version of the January 6th Capitol attack. The measure requires educators to describe the 2021 incident as a violent assault on democratic institutions and prohibits presenting it as a peaceful protest or claiming the 2020 election was stolen. The bill passed along party lines in both chambers of the Virginia Assembly and is expected to be signed by Governor Abigail Spanberger. Supporters argue the law protects students from misinformation, while critics say it could politicize education in classrooms. Meanwhile, the United Kingdom has intensified its crackdown on what it calls asylum abuse, placing Pakistan under renewed scrutiny. Questions have been raised in the British Parliament about the growing number of Pakistani nationals entering the country on legal visas and later applying for asylum. For more on this, we go to our London correspondent, James Wood.
British lawmakers say the number of asylum applications from Pakistani nationals has increased significantly in recent years. Official figures show that Pakistanis now form the largest group of asylum seekers in the UK, with more than 10,000 applications recorded in 2024. Government officials say over 70% of these claims are eventually rejected, yet deportations remain relatively low. Ministers are now examining whether tougher visa rules may be needed for countries that fail to take back their citizens. However, authorities say Pakistan has so far avoided potential sanctions because of ongoing cooperation with the United Kingdom on migration matters.
James Wood reporting from London. Thank you. Back in Pakistan, the Supreme Court has taken a significant step aimed at protecting witnesses during court proceedings. The court has directed trial judges to prevent abusive or irrelevant cross-examinations that could harass witnesses. The ruling came during a case involving multiple FIRs in Faisalabad, where the complainant was subjected to lengthy questioning over several days. Justice Salahuddin Panwar stated that judges must actively supervise proceedings to ensure fairness and prevent unnecessary delays. The court also emphasized that witnesses should not be forced to stand for hours while testifying, stressing that dignity must be maintained inside courtrooms. And finally, industrialists in Karachi have strongly criticized the government's decision to suspend gas supply to industries for 2 days each week. Business leaders warn the move could further damage Pakistan's already struggling economy. They say rising energy costs, combined with recent electricity tariff increases, are making it increasingly difficult for local industries to compete in international markets. Manufacturers fear the disruption could delay export orders and push foreign buyers toward other countries. The business community is now urging the the government to review its energy policies and ensure uninterrupted and affordable power supply in order to protect exports and stabilize economic growth. That's all for now. You're watching Pakistan Today News. I'm Chris Taylor.